Welcome to Familiar Territory, an anime podcast hosted by two white dudes who've been friends for over 15 years. Here we talk about the history and influence of anime, as well as review anime new and old. So grab your talking cap and transform into some comfy clothes as we step into a familiar territory. My name is Grant.
And I'm Brantley. Grant?
Yes.
Are you ready to start a revolution?
Constantly.
Well, good, because we're going to watch Revolutionary Girl Utena today.
Ooh, I've heard only good things about this.
Well, tell me every single good thing you've heard about it.
Well, I hear that it's like one of the de facto magical girl shows. A lot of people use it as like a prime example of like what shoujo should be. So it's not, it's not a shonen. It is 100% shoujo. Shoujo. It's supposed to be super
show.
It's a slow show.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people give it some good thumbs up. I know the girl has short hair, which is cool because that's not usual in anime. I don't really know too much about the show exactly. Everyone's just like, oh, you gotta watch it. It is
good. Yeah, you're gonna get all the details you need today. That's actually a lie, but we'll get to that. Here's all you really need to know. Swords are involved.
Hell yes.
And they're gonna fight with the swords.
Everything is better with swords.
Yeah. Although this is shoujo in its aesthetic, in its presentation, in its themes, and just kind of like embodiment, there's gonna be fighting. So, I would say it still leans a little bit into that like that boyish nature somewhat, but I think in like a totally bombastic feminine way. So
excellent. I'm excited. Cool. I want to see people hit each other with swords, but not in a bad way, because we've seen a lot of bad sword fights so far on this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we get I hope to God we get a sword fight in episode 1. I'm pretty sure we do. But if we don't, I apologize. This is a very interesting show in that it can feel slow and dense at the same time.
Okay.
Especially if you're not sort of accustomed to this genre. If you watch this first episode, you're not really sold on it yet, then the following episodes might not sell you either, because they tend to slow down and then pick up. And this is a longer series, considering that it's not, one of the highly exploitative, marketable ones. It's not your Precure or Sailor Moon type, where, we just keep making this series. But it is 39 episodes, I believe. So, it did essentially 3 seasons worth of episodes.
Did it get adapted into anything else?
Sure did. Although it's best known for its anime, at least stateside seemingly, it was a manga first.
Okay.
And then, it's also gotten a light novel, it's gotten a video game, apparently multiple stage musicals is what I'm reading. So really, it's managed to make the rounds, but it's, in terms of, like, sequels and, like, extending the franchise, not much in terms of anime and manga. Well, it's pretty much stayed true from what I can see.
Right, and I mean, if you make an anime into a stage musical, you know that you're a hit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yoko Taro's out there somewhere, drumming his fingers behind that mask. Okay, I do want to give some background. It's likely that in our long, unending, eternal extent of familiar territory, we'll touch on shows that are directed by the same director of this. The director of Revolutionary Girl Utena is Kunihiko Ikuhara. If you've ever heard someone say, like, oh, this is an Ikuhara show for sure, then you're deep. But outside of that, like, this dude kind of has an imprint on shows of this certain type. A lot of times, like, a feminine focus, strong female leads, typically gets into sort of taboo topics and plays them neutrally but dense with allegory. Ikuhara got his start directing, well, I say got his start, but, got his popular start in Sailor Moon directing, but felt pretty limited in what he got to do with the show. And seeing as wacky as Sailor Moon gets sometimes, then this guy's serious. Went on to sort of create his own little collective called Bee Papas. Just kidding, it's Be Papas. That's sort of like a clamp situation where you have a small, tight group of creators, hire up the best of your best friends, get the best associates you can to make some art. And that's art with like a capital A.
As opposed to a lowercase a?
Yeah, this because it's high art.
Oh, okay.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but for real, this was, essentially their big deal.
What else has
at least, again, from like the Western perspective.
What else has he directed?
So Ikuhara's gone on to direct Mawaru Penguin Drum.
Oh, yeah.
Yurikuma Arashi, and most recently, Sarazanmai. So all shows that kind of dabble into magical girl territory in some way, all shows that get weird fast.
I knew one of them. I knew one of those shows.
Yeah. With luck, we'll watch all of those shows.
Wait, is the Penguin one a magical girl show?
I don't know if it would fall in that category, but it's got elements of that.
Okay.
At least that's what I'm projecting, because everything else has been so far, and that's the only one I haven't really seen yet.
I do like in the Wikipedia, Revolutionary Girl Utena is fantasy, romance, surrealist.
Yes, surrealism is a big part of all of Ikuhara's works.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, and so, which is why I'm saying like, oh, this is an Ikuhara thing. This is some, auteur kind of level of consistency through works.
Right.
However, I don't want to detract from the original manga creator, Chiho Saito. I think she gets overlooked, considering, essentially the manga was the launching off point for the anime, and, the anime, I feel like, is very important, but wouldn't have happened without trust being put in Chiho Saito first. So, if no one else will mention her, I will. Something else that she created is Canon, which I believe is maybe a little more well known. Unless I'm thinking of a different Canon. You know what? I might be. They're both spelled the same way, but anyways, it's a little sad considering if you go to Chiho Saito's like Wikipedia, for example, which I'm directly reading off of right now. Most of her works are not actually well explored, at least not stateside. So, hey, here's her little shout out on this little show.
And she is a Bee Papa. It says she is part of the Bee Papa Artist Collective. Mm-hmm. So that's, yeah. I'm sure that's a good gig to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I imagine they've got to have fun.
Oh, I like that her hobbies include sumo wrestling.
Well, heck yeah. We'll take our bets after this episode whether or not that's participating in or just viewership of sumo. I do want to put out like a content warning for Revolutionary Girl Utena and in general Ikuhara shows. These are shows that like to dig into some deep topics, and things that can make you uncomfortable. I know it certainly made me uncomfortable at times. If you're gonna watch through Revolutionary Girl Utena, you're gonna see depictions of physical assault and abuse. You're going to see, not directly, but through audio and through visual cues, underage sex, including the involvement of an adult and power positions and uncomfortable things in that range. I, having watched it, feel that it is depicting them tastefully enough that it's not, drawing attention to the explicitness of the act, but instead is framing it away from you so that you can register what's going on and then essentially build your understanding of it. And the framing is usually in such a way that it doesn't seem like it's, praising or, playing off these things. It's never for a gag or anything like that. That being said, still very real parts of the show. So if you're comfortable with that, it's definitely an interesting exploration of these things. And it's not afraid to get allegorical.
Lots of biblical references.
I hear people use allegory that's not strictly religious. But to otherwise say, it is, it's deeply entrenched in its own metaphors and symbolism. Then, so
all right. Well,
okay,
that might have been our longest
of my
intro.
Yeah. And perhaps also our most boring, courtesy of me, Brantley. When we inevitably split ways and have a terrible falling out, make sure that you go follow wherever Grant goes and not me. Okay, without further ado, you can watch this on Funimation. We are going to be watching the dub version of this, which thankfully Ikuhara watched over, I know at least the dub version of the movie to make sure, it wasn't being overly westernized. I'd say they kept it fairly well intact, and also it's a fun watch considering that you've got, a lot of Pokemon classic voice actors in here. So, whether you want to do dub or sub, I hope you'll follow along. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, go.
I wonder if he watched over it to make sure it wasn't Western because of Sailor Moon.
Potentially.
Because if he's a big Sailor Moon guy, or was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so bopping. When did this come out?
So this was 97 was the anime.
Okay.
96 was the manga.
Okay. Ooh, those are some angular men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna see angular people all throughout this show. This is shoujo style.
Hey, it's the garden from Battle Girl High School.
Yeah, it's the Battle Girl High School garden that we love so much. Yeah, now we get to see the inspiration
for
the only garden that exists.
Ooh, her outfit kind of reminded me of Kyoko's. I'm sure that there's definitely some influence from this show to a lot of modern day Madoka or magical girl shows.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
She gets a horse? That's a spoiler.
No. Not really. Oh, hey, another JC Staff show.
It is JC Staff. Dude, they pump out so much.
Mm-hmm. I guess. Yeah, just we're so familiar. Okay. Plot.
So we just get a nice little fairy tale-esque. See,
mm-hmm.
that looks like her outfit that she wore.
Ooh. I wonder if you're getting somewhere with this.
Of course I am. I'm a genius.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some similar.
Oh, he slurped up her tears.
We got some similar hairstyles too between the main character and the other girl in the opening.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how lesbian is this show, Brantley?
Ha 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 ha. As lesbian as the first episode relationship.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Get that representation. Back in the 90s too.
Yeah. Check it out. So her being swept up by a prince means she wants to be a prince.
Well, that's sick as shit.
How's that for a good old flip? Episodes are called duels.
That's sick. There better be sword fighting.
There's gonna be.
I want swords.
Mm-hmm.
Look at them.
All lesbians want swords, Grant.
I'm not. Look at them poofy ass shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love the outfits in this show. Yeah, so, fashion style's definitely a big thing that I'm a fan of in this show.
It's super... it's almost reminiscent of the 70s, which is weird considering it came out of the 90s. So these characters are they characters, or are they just, their school is like Greek ruins.
Yeah. Style is just dripping from this show.
This is sick.
Again, I think we've got Chiho Saito to thank for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna see some impressive architecture. As for characters starting off, we've been introduced to best friend girl. She was getting all flustered and running off. And so now we're being swept around essentially the school grounds here.
That's exciting. I dig the school, although horrible to get to. My goodness, would that just be a pain in the ass to walk? It's on the top of a fucking hill. It's a church. Holy cow, it's giant.
Yeah, look at the size of this place.
It looks like a train station.
Yeah. People watched Kill la Kill and were like, wow, the school's a coliseum out front. That's pretty neat. Get on Utena's level.
So why does Utena...
There she is.
Okay, I thought she had short hair, but she has long hair.
No, but Anthe does, yeah.
Why does she get...
Who's Anthe? Oops.
So... Okay, so she's upset because her teachers with pointy glasses and bejeweled... So why does she get a special colored uniform?
Well, because she's gone and picked it out for herself. She's like, hey, the boys wear this outfit, and there's nothing in the rules that say she can't. So she's gone ahead and taken that.
I love this teacher. As of now, she might be a total bastard, but her...
I don't think we see a lot of her. So embrace her while you can.
Her over-the-topness.
I
like how
Roses.
They're straight up just like, fuck it. I'm dunking a basketball first thing I'm gonna do in this episode. Against like 7 dudes. Like,
look at this. Yeah. Just took him out. Utena just rocks it on NBA Jam every weekend. So Grant, how lesbian is this show?
Super lesbian. I love it. I will say that Cardcaptor Sakura is also good at basketball. So, reference? Probably not, but...
Maho Maho. Who can basketball better?
He doesn't want smelly boy sweat. Specifically.
Yeah.
To be a prince.
So here she is. She's making some big points out here.
Oh, now her hair's short.
So there,
now it's not.
Where'd
she tuck it in?
Her hair looks short. It was like in the shirt collar, the coat collar, and then she pulled it out. Yeah. So Utena's already giving us a pretty complex look at her gender identity and presentation. She is a girl. She prefers to be, referred to as a girl. But she enjoys, masculine aesthetics too. So yeah, I like how confident she is in that. As much as I am a sucker for character development, I think it's something that's good to just get right on in there. Well, and that lets us explore more interesting things like swords.
Because there's better. This is the exact like you when you said in the Battle Girl High School thing that this is an exact replica of the Utena garden. You were not kidding.
Yeah, it's round and there's plants inside.
I mean,
glass. Uh-oh, who's this Dorito?
Well, I saw him. Oh, he just slapped her! Kick his ass! Dude. Yeah, dude.
Oh man, he's going for another.
Oh my god.
But who's this?
There's a bunch of these.
We've got guac versus nacho cheese out here. Have a little spat.
They were in the opening and they had swords.
A lot of people are going to have swords.
Do they just kind of give them out? Or
no, but certain people get swords.
Hey, oh man. So the red-haired guy is the student council president, and the green-haired guy is the vice president.
Mm-hmm. And there's Anthony. Sorry. Anthe, Himamiya.
Sick.
You know, Hime means princess. I would not be surprised if her last name is supposed to be punning in princess there, Himamiya.
That makes sense. So, what? The red-haired guy looks familiar. Like, not in terms of this show, but I feel like a lot of people are like, I'm gonna make a cool, red-haired, stone-cold character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of... Man, I love the goofy 90s anime face.
Oh, yeah. One of the reasons why I love Sailor Moon is how goofy they make the expressions.
Dude, it's Shinji Ikara. With it's Ray. It's Ray from Oh, dude.
So here we've got the club.
Bride? That's fast. So they're engaged. What?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, this is just... Oh, okay, blue-haired guy doesn't like that.
As he pleases.
Yeah, blue-haired guy doesn't like that the green-haired guy can abuse the girl. Red-haired guy says it's
tense.
lawful, but you shouldn't do it. And then green-haired guy says, holy shit, he's so tall.
Mm-hmm. I do like the small detail there when Seonji... Whoa, a character gesture. Okay, so Anthe is already referring to Seonji as like a master, so something fucky's going on here.
Green-haired dude is Seonji.
Yes, Seonji, yeah.
Okay.
I like the small detail when he grabs for her waist. Just for like a split second, it looks like Anthe's body kind of like squeezes in for a moment in reaction. Really nice detail if it is there. Maybe I, mistook it, but...
No, man. I can see that.
Yep. Also in our commercial double take here, we see that it calls itself under a French name.
Which is classic.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
Rose
crest, rose garden.
Ooh. Rose symbolism.
Rose
There's lots of roses in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And the episode's called Rose Bride?
Yep.
So, wait, okay. So, obviously the princess in this story at the beginning was Utena. But how metaphorical was it, or was it literal?
Depending on how you look at it, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I'm already confused, but in a good way.
My favorite little bit of commentary I've ever seen regarding the show was I wanted to confirm some things about the ending, so I looked up, Utena ending, and someone was like, "Hey, can you explain the ending for me?" And the top comment was, "Aw, baby's first allegory," and I've never gotten over that. Sickest move I've ever seen.
I like that. I'm confused, but it feels like Madoka confusion and not Battle Girl confusion, where I'm confused because I can tell the show is kind of being very vague on purpose. Wait, why is she crying? What did I miss?
Wow, we missed a bunch. We're really good at this. I think maybe it was a confession to someone, or here.
Okay.
One downside of the dub, we don't get subtitles. I think she might have gotten rejected by Seonji because he's currently dating Anthe.
Now he has... Oh, he's in the Kendo Club. Oh, yeah. So
he pinned up her love letter, I think.
What a dick. I mean, this guy is very unlikable. And I like, not even remotely. Okay. So...
It's a good thing you dislike him. If you watch more, I think you're gonna really enjoy it.
Yes. Sword fight. Not with real swords, but enough.
Oh, she wants to duel him.
Ooh, duel 1. It's like, and then they meet with their dual discs and they play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Seonji would totally have a fucking Toon World deck.
Fucking Toon World. I still don't know how Toon World fucking works.
He'd complain because he wouldn't get Toon World throughout the whole match before he gets knocked out. Oh, ooh.
This is the marionette-esque. Okay, I know I'm gonna say this a lot. Very reminiscent of the familiars from Madoka. Just kind of like silhouetted, very vague-esque. I can see how...
Riddle speech.
Yeah, I can see how this show influenced Madoka, like a lot.
Mm-hmm. While we're also talking about influences, Steven Universe.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Roses.
Rose, yeah.
Pink color coding. Just yeah, it is totally blatant. They'll say like, yeah, we definitely leaned on this, whatever. I think Rebecca Sugar said so.
That makes sense. I think I've read something about this. Is sick. It's
all right. You ready for some over the top, absolute nonsense?
Always. That's
right.
Literally my life. Is this a Tyrannosaurus Rex?
It is not.
Now my expectations have been lowered.
But her rose ring just turned the architecture topsy-turvy.
She's very unfazed. Oh, this is some interest. Ooh, look at that. That's the stairs that you climb up in Kingdom Hearts. Ooh, and then we get some 90s ass birth record.
Battle prep song.
Records of death. Okay. This is the... Not only is it the Kingdom Hearts 2 staircase scene, but it's also the Mega Man X7 staircase scene.
Man, there's a lot of Mega Man X staircases down there. They're like, hey, we did it once, let's try it again, and again, and again. Ooh, look, it's upside down Disney World. She's gonna go see the Electric Light Parade before it gets discontinued.
That's sad. What the
darkness of Sodom, the darkness of light.
So this is biblical.
The darkness of distance, endless darkness. I'm a
big fan of these. I'm a big fan of these lyrics. The Absolute Destiny Apocalypse, great fucking band name.
Oh yeah,
Apocalyptic Darkness. Also,
yeah.
They could have started this show fairly simple, where it's, we'll do well after class before everything got wonky and literally topsy-turvy and upside down. But they're like, nah, fuck it. This basic kendo duel, 100% surreal as shit. She is not reacting expressively.
Yeah. Just like, wow, how's that up in the air?
Yeah, very, very accepting of the format she has found herself in.
So she has the rose seal. And never mind the upside down floating castle, as Seonji said.
Man, love the dress. Sick dress.
Here's Anthe. She's got some roses.
Some green roses, which represent his green hair. And the
green
white
rose and white
the
rose.
White rose represents the fact that she cannot see pink on the color spectrum.
More casual sexism, or maybe not even casual, blatant, forceful, 60 miles an hour from zero sexism is the bride's requirement to be here.
Oh, this is fun. So she has the same rose scent as the prince.
Oh,
stop it! I mean, I get that this is supposed to be like, this dude's an asshole, kick his ass. I'm just mad. Just kick his ass. I'm ready for it. I am amped. I want to see this guy get smacked with the sword. So she just goes to the champion duelist. So not exactly because there's some arranged marriage. This is like the rule of the land.
Yep, that's the rule of the Rose Bride.
Kick his ass.
And the Rose Seal.
She's confident as shit. She's just like, yep, I can do this. I'm gonna kick his ass. And you know what? I'm all for it. I'm
Yeah.
hyped. Okay, so now we're getting some incantations. Straight up magic ball.
Mm-hmm. So here's your, like, transformation sequence.
Okay. So does everyone get their, like, okay, so, like, we'll see both them transform? Okay.
Sorta.
Oh, that's a real sword. Nah, that's not fair. He gets a real sword.
Mm-hmm. Bring him the power to bring the world revolution.
Also, his sword looks a lot like Pearl's swords from Steven Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this, like, chanting music.
Mm-hmm.
You also have a real sword. He's,
Mm-hmm.
like, taunting her, like, haha, you're not bad for a girl. Give her a real sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the rules of this basically dictate it's about protecting your rose. So
Okay. So you gotta cut the rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you don't actually have to, kill each other or whatever.
Okay. So that makes sense. Makes it more of a gentleman's duel. But what if you do kill him? I'm just saying, because
That's definitely possible.
I don't think I'd care if this dude just bit the dust right now.
Just eats it.
Also, I keep looking at the subtitles for the song, and once again, weird. Super bizarre.
Yeah.
Ooh. Alright. So we're gonna get cast into hell. Holy shit. So we get a little flashback of her and the prince that made Utena want to be a prince.
Mm-hmm. Here
So,
she comes. Just rush it.
Do it. This is very reminiscent of old samurai film where
Mm-hmm.
it's, just kind of this quick 1-2, and then it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that smug ass. Is it good?
Uh-oh. Well, she's still got her rose. Oh!
I had a real sword and I lost? How?
Dude, she took on 7 dudes at once in basketball.
She's just like, get fucked. Man. Look at this. Just look at his glasses. They had a ruby on them. And look how far he is.
Yeah.
What is this nonsense, Brantley?
This is delicious.
It's nonsense, but it's tasty. I'm like, give me more of that.
Perhaps this is on its way to becoming a retrospective.
Ooh, I would absolutely watch this entire show. I'd be down for that. We have a lot of retrospectives planned, but I think that's fine. We could do, I don't really know what we'd Maho this, but
we could always do another Ikuhara show. And that's the end of this episode.
That was a fast episode. Like, I know that it was fully 22 minutes, but you're kind of right in terms of just it starts and then it keeps going. You get a couple of domestic abuse cases, and you're like, fuck that guy. And then that guy gets his ass kicked, and you're like, absolutely sick.
Mm-hmm. Some really unique music for the ending if you do find a version of the show that has it. Otherwise, go check it out on YouTube. It's really funky. It's got some sick guitar in it. And yeah, now Anthe has basically promised herself to Utena, because now she's the winner of the Rose Bride.
The duelist. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that all the other members of the student council are gonna try and go for Utena.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Utena in a dress at the end in the credits. So I imagine that there's some sort of...
they both got the same prince, yeah.
They do have the same prince. So we're going to definitely see some... I don't know if this is foreshadowing, because sometimes endings just are literal nonsense. So it might just be literal nonsense. Who knows? Who's to say? I mean, Brantley can tell us, but he's not going to.
It's true.
All right. So, I guess I shouldn't ask what you think because you've seen the entire show.
Give me your thoughts. Gimme.
I liked it a lot. I want to see more of it. I probably will watch more of it. I think that it. I know I said the amount of influence this show has had, you don't even know, but then you watch the first episode and you're like, oh, that kind of looks like this. This kind of looks like that. That's an interesting take. Like, you have this evil student council, and I know the evil student council is kind of a trope in a lot of anime, but probably started with Utena.
This is, some really, like, top level inspiration material, as best as I can see. It's hard to find things that preceded Utena that would have inspired it in certain way, like architecturally, for example, in terms of its, topics on gender and sex and the intersection of those things involving swords. Like it really kind of, it feels like a fresh step for a lot of different topics and subtopics.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And also, I think all lessons and all learned things should be taught with swords. I would be much better at Spanish if I had a sword for Spanish.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's hard to compare 90s fight scenes, and I know this show is not necessarily a fighting show, but it might be. I don't know.
You've walked yourself into what might be the world's first shoujo tournament arc.
Hell yes, I want it. Not
every episode has a fight, but it's very, very thorough.
I'm excited. I digged it. I do hope that we get a little bit more complicated fights because I'm a sucker for good choreography. But but the thing is I don't care if this show has good choreography. There's a lot of shows that I've watched recently, in the shonen genre, that have really good choreography, but there's also shows that didn't have good choreography and they totally ruined the show. I feel like this show's kind of surreal story can hold itself up. So if the choreography is lacking, I still wouldn't care.
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't know that all the choreography is memorable, but there are memorable bits of fight choreography. Sick. For sure. Fights that immediately come to mind as like, not to it's revolutionary.
That's a joke. That's an A+ joke right there, Brandon.
It wasn't a joke. I'm just trying to articulate myself.
No, I'm really excited for the rest of the show. I do think I know I've said that about Yuki Yuna, although I don't know if I really want to watch too much more Yuki Yuna. I kind of do, but this show has definitely moved up to my top of watch list, especially because it's been so long where I've had people be like, "Oh, you should watch this." I've almost everything that I've loved. All my most stuff I'm having a hard time putting my thoughts into words. But all like my top shows and magical girl shows, I've always been recommended Utena because of, it's like, oh, if you like this, you'll definitely like Utena.
It's iconic.
It is iconic, and I think that iconic is thrown around a lot because I think with the development of social media, it's pretty easy for things to become iconic in terms of memes or iconic in terms of, specific scenes. But this show,
virality.
This show, I think, is truly iconic.
I totally agree there.
I mean, what do you have to say about it? I mean, I can talk about my first impressions from the show for so long, but you've seen the entire show. And I'm not saying, hey, go talk about the entire show, but, give a quick tidbits of what this show has kind of inspired you or made you more interested in a specific thing. Like, what lasting impressions did this show have on you?
It had some. First of all, don't walk in thinking this show is going to be at this pace all the time. It's going to take some time to slow down. There are, what some people will call filler episodes. Other people will insist that they're still important. But, it has its ups and downs. I think the ups are extremely high. To the point where when they did essentially a recap movie, it's not a clip show. It's basically an entire retelling, almost divergent from what I remember. And it's just off the rails, and in a good way. I remember I had watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes. I was like, this is good, but I want to speed up. So I went and watched, I believe it's The Adolescence of Utena, which is the movie version. And I didn't understand any of it. But the good news is then I went and watched the rest of the series. And I also didn't quite get the ending of it either. And it didn't help me understand the movie at all, at least not until I go back and see it. But what always stuck was that I could understand what was drifting in terms of like the emotional thrust of the show and what the directive was. I could always tell, like, okay, this person needs to do something about that person, and this person's related to this person, even if I couldn't always put it into words, and I think you kind of alluded to that while we were watching. So yeah, it's the kind of thing that speaks louder through its direction than it does with words.
Nice. I can appreciate that. I will not lie, I did go to your anime list to see what you gave Utena, just out of curiosity, and you don't have it on there. I'm just going to let you know that.
Wait, really?
It's not on there, because I was very curious. Oof. I was very curious if this might have been your, like one of your 10s, but because I'm not sure what you would give it. Obviously, scores are objective and at some points, arbitrary. But I was curious, and it's not there at all.
Yeah, I need to go put it on there. It might not be listed as Revolutionary Girl in the.
Well, I control F Utena.
Oh, okay.
So I assume that would be there.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I would say, like, if I had to put a number to it, maybe an 8 out of 10 for the series. I have to rewatch the movie before I can give it a fair number. Mm-hmm. I think originally what was in my mind was a 7. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised it's not on my list. But in any case, high highs, low lows. I think it kind of pulls up the slack in that sense. So if you're in it for moments, then I would say watch the dub. You can kind of put it in on the sidelines, and then when something really starts picking up, then you can go, watch it more intently and get those really delicious bits. And if you're someone who just wants to sink into it, then maybe sub is better for you that way. You don't have to go through any hoops of, translation per lip matching. It's just through text. Also, again, if you enjoy hearing voices from the classic era of anime being westernized, like your early Pokemon voice actors and stuff, you're gonna get a lot of them in this series. The blue-haired guy, which we're gonna get introduced to later, he's someone, and he's like a lot of side characters in Pokemon, I think. He might have been Tracy in Johto. Nope, James Carter Cathcart did Gary originally, and now does James, Meowth, and Dr. Oak, as well as other Pokemon. Utena herself is definitely Misty. And I think Misty is also Jessie. I guess it's like immediate for me, like it's like snap, and it's like, whoa, the Pokemon voice actors. But in any case, I feel like you can't go too wrong with this show. Something about it is likely to pick up your intrigue.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely have it on my sites, and I'm pretty interested.
Well, okay.
With that said, thank you for listening to this episode of Familiar Territory. If you like what you heard, make sure you can comment, like, subscribe, or don't, because we are not your dads.
But I will take you as my rose bride.
Damn, that's a good fucking ending.
See ya.
Ah, damn. Damn.
Okay.